Hello, I'm Rupert Turton and welcome to the Business Spotlight, where we interview local business owners about their journey. This week I'm joined by Rob Brunero, who's the Managing Director at Axis Entrance Systems, who manufacture and install various doors and entrances for commercial premises. So Rob, hello.
Good afternoon, Rupert.
Yeah.
Great joining.
So first of all, let's start off by explaining what you do and how long you've been doing it.
Right, well, first of all, Axis in different guise and concept was set up in 1987 and primarily as a door maintenance company. It was recognizing an opportunity that because I worked for a security company, we were installing access control systems and for local authorities. And at that time, local authorities had their own joiners, carpenters, and everything else, and they did all that work themselves. Right? They wouldn't subcontract it out to a third party. So we fitted all the electronics to the door. Okay, got lots of complaints that the doors weren't working. The access control didn't work. On investigation, it was found out the doors didn't close. Consequently, that is, well, hang on a minute, if local authorities are looking after their own properties and then spending all this money on this highfalutin expensive equipment and it doesn't work, it is a waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
ratepayers' money, as it may be. So everything's changed now, but this, I'm talking about going back into the 1980s, totally different concept. And consequently, put the idea to my employer about doing door maintenance. He didn't want to do it under the banner of the security company. So consequently, we set up a company called Axis Northampton Ltd and started promoting it for door repairs and maintenance. We had staff that were capable. We introduced products from abroad that weren't readily available, that did the job and built our reputation up on that. And consequently, so you spend all this money on the access control, we'd come along and make sure the door worked properly.
Sort of the whole point of doing it, really, isn't it?
Yes. And from there, we developed from just looking after multi-occupancy buildings to blocks of offices and everything, got involved with government buildings and local retail shops, the lot. And it sort of developed from there. And from that, the future was, or I perceived it to be, automatic doors. And this would be the mid-90s.
Yeah.
That's where, forget door maintenance, because everything was changing.
Yeah.
We're going to go look at automatic doors. So started that. We became reasonably successful with it. Had to do all the accreditations and make sure the staff were duly accredited to work with automatic doors. And hence there came a problem because our suppliers were also our competitors.
Yeah.
And didn't think twice about being scrupulous and unscrupulous and contacting our clients direct. So we'll do this, we'll do that. And before you realise you're losing work.
Yeah.
Because they'll always do it cheaper than you can.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the ambition was then to set up our own aluminium division, to set up an automatic door division. And that's what I did. And I was fortunate enough to meet one of my co-directors now, Patrick, and we set up an aluminium company to fabricate doors and screens.
Yeah.
Okay. And at the same time, had the opportunity to approach Stanley, as in Stanley Tools, their automatic door division.
All right.
They'd sold their UK interests, as well as a few European companies, to management buyout, as a management buyout. After their 3-year transitional period, the management sold it to a competitor.
Right.
Hence where an opportunity arose. So cheekily, I picked up the phone, called Stanley, finally got through after a month to somebody who was willing to discuss it, put the situation to them that they must be silly selling their product to a competitor because it will never happen. No, we're fine. Things are absolutely wonderful. After 45-minute call, thanks, Rob. We've got your details. Wish you luck. 2 months later, they're on the phone saying, "Are you interested?"
Yeah.
Their sales have disappeared overnight.
Okay. Yep.
So consequently, a new company was formed, amalgamation of companies that we could do the door maintenance, the automatics, and the aluminium door. That was the concept achieved.
Yeah. Well, that's almost the holy grail, isn't it? You supply the product and then service the product for its entire life as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's how you would like to shape a business.
Yeah. And I've not done that on my own.
Mm.
So that's what you have to, we've spoken about this before. I am very, very reliant on having a support mechanism in place.
Yeah.
And whilst they may not feel I appreciate them, they are. They're an integral part of what makes this company work and tick.
Yeah. So who is that support network then?
Well, it's everybody down from the sales team, down to the accounts, the service department, the projects department, and the people out in the field.
Yeah. So the whole
doing
team,
their job.
Everybody has a part to play in the success of the business.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. So we've gone through all the rough times, good times with the recession, which was a shock to everybody, as well as the pandemic. But I think that sort of gives you an idea. We've sort of naturally progressed from being a door maintenance company to having the opportunity to enter the healthcare sector with one of our products. And that in its own turn is now probably accounting for a significant part of our business. And I think we've been recognised for that.
Yeah. So you raised an interesting point there about the business as well. So obviously with all your support network and everyone that's working with you within the business, are you a very value-based business? Are you driven very much by your values and the values inside the business?
I would like to think so, but not everybody share. Even the people within the business don't share or necessarily agree with my values. We do try and share them to an extent, and whilst they may say yes to you, they agree, they're not fully committed to it. And that will be with any organisation.
Yeah.
We pre the 2008, the recession, I think we had 44 staff.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough only to make 4 redundant in that period of time. But then that was only because the rest of the people that were left agreed to changes in working practices and habits and pay, etc., which enabled us to survive. We're down to gradually through natural changes in our business and the way we work, we're down to just shy of 30 people.
Yeah.
And that is sufficient. But we've had to go, the pandemic put paid to any growth at the time.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah. And that I'll come to that later. But
yeah. So what have been the biggest issues you've had to overcome rather as a business owner?
I would probably say one of the other than the recession, because the recession was frightening. Give you an idea, our turnover dropped by 50% in 3 months.
Yeah.
Halved. It was a significant decrease. And obviously your overhead is still the same. You still got the rent rates and everything else to pay. You can't just sort of walk away and say, here you go. So we were losing a lot of money in a very short period of time. It was then rebuilding.
Yeah.
What none of us expected was for the recession to last nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
All right. So we committed to growth. When I say growth, I'm talking about buying another company, taking on extra premises for production.
Yeah.
That year, the year before. And then suddenly, when you get to December and you see your world caving in, you think, oh, I can't get out of this. So I'm not one to sort of turn around and walk away. So again, and this is where the support network comes in. There are people here, and I would say at least half, that would, not through undying loyalty, it's not just respect. They have a certain part of their character and makeup.
Yeah.
Want to be engaged and want to be involved.
Okay.
And they help you get through it. I'm not saying nothing's too much trouble. It's they're more open and willing to help.
So what have you learned about yourself then during your journey?
Listening to others and not take people too much for granted. And one of the biggest things I've tried, and I don't know whether I've been successful at it, because I think I've had as many failings as possible, is trying to empower people.
Yeah.
Help them develop themselves. Like I was given the opportunity in my youth into something that they would like to do.
Yeah.
We've all got this idea, this is what we'd like to do, but actually when we start going down that path, we realise maybe it isn't, or I haven't got the skill sets to do that, or haven't got the experience. Can I get the training to do it? Or no, it's far more involved than this pipe dream I've had.
Yeah.
That's not belittling anybody, because until you start down that path, you never know.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So with that said, then, what are your aspirations for the company in the next 5 years?
Well, considering, believe it or not, 5 years ago, I went on this path of investing in the company, to take it forward to have what I class as better and smarter working practices, to improve our production, etc. COVID put a massive stop to that. You know, it was just like someone just built a brick wall overnight.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so we went through this stage transition. And beginning of last year, right, now we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it. Business is coming back to a reasonable level. Forget Brexit and everything, that's something else. But, right, if we're going to do it, and I want to do it in my lifetime, I'm going to do it now.
Yeah.
And one of the first things was to improve our production capacity and facilities.
Yeah.
And that was the introduction of CNC machine.
Yeah.
Amongst everything else. That met with a lot of hand clapping. Great, here we go. Going to have quality, consistent and quality products. To, am I going to be out of a job? You know, so there was a mixed reaction to it.
Yeah.
It surprised me in this day and age, and even sort of sharing and engaging with all parties to say this is what we're going to do, and explaining the reasons why we needed to, because we've got a quality product, we need to manufacture it in a quality manner.
Yeah.
We need to be very consistent in what we're doing.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So we want to ask you for the money for it. You expect to have a reasonable product. So everybody appeared to be on board, but they weren't. Those that were more involved weren't. Didn't want to change working practices. Yeah. So consequently, we moved on. We purchased some machinery. Had to give a year's, it was a year's waiting list for it. Yeah. We finally got it in May this year. All right. Yeah. Okay. So it's great. Those people, the team that were in place at the time, have now all left. Oh, right. Yeah. We've brought in the new team. Right. And in all seriousness, the change to it, I've got a smile from here to here. We're only just finishing setting up all the writing the programs. The quality of what I'm seeing going out, the consistency, is exactly what I expected. In fact, better. Wow, brilliant. So for us, that is the start of our change. Yep. So what have I got for the company in the next 5 years is now to grow. We can offer different formats and concepts of our product. Yeah. Whether that be for supply only, installed, the supply only side I would probably never have thought of. Yeah. Because I need to be able to look you in the face and say, we've got a quality product. Yeah. And it's going to be consistent. Yeah. But actually that sounds like it's moving into new markets as well, markets you previously looked at.
So obviously that's presumably forming part of an expansion, is it?
We're now developing a new product, and that we're hoping to launch later on this year, and that will open up another market. It will expand our existing marketplace, different type of product, and for different applications. And because of the success of our previous products, we think this is a good add-on. And this machine, as well as probably future machines of Ensnell, will enable us to mass produce and hopefully have the desired effect of reducing costs. Because our biggest challenge, I think, is going green.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Being carbon neutral.
Yeah.
And we're going through this painful exercise at the moment. And I say the painful because when you're starting from scratch and you have your suppliers or supply chain turning around and saying to you, yes, what are you doing to offset the carbon effect? You know, and we're going through this EPDs, which is the environmental production declaration.
Yeah.
And we have to say where we're getting the aluminium from, where we're getting the glass from, how much energy we're using, how much carbon we're producing.
Yeah.
And we've had to employ consultants over the last year. And I'm hoping by September, we would have achieved our first success.
Yeah.
And that's it. But without that, we can't move forward.
Yeah. But it is. I suppose it's an evolution of the business, but it's an evolution in business in line with society, isn't it?
Yeah. Sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, we have the thing about the vehicles, having to report how many miles each employee travels to work, and whether it's by car, bicycle, foot, etc. And it's looking at all the stats and data over the last year.
Yeah.
And capturing it all. And then sending it off to a consultant to say, yeah, okay, then you now need to plant 1 million trees.
Yeah.
And I'm not being cynical or sarcastic when I say that, because I have no idea. And this is all part of a learning curve and journey for me and lots of other business owners. Well, how can we achieve it? Is it possible?
Yeah.
And I remember having a meeting with the banks last year, our bank. And they said, do you need any loans for any equipment, vehicles or anything? Because if they're, at the moment, if it's green, a green loan, it's fee-free.
Yeah.
Rates and everything else. So how much would you like to borrow? Do you want to put solar panels on your roof? Do you want to do this? And you sit there and go, right, but I've got to commit to a lot of money to make this work and happen.
Yeah.
But it is free, Rob.
Levels are free. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is all part of deciding what you need to do. We start off with the simple things of, let's change the lighting.
Yeah.
Going from sodium lights to LED lighting, high efficiency. And things like looking at, whether it's a computer screens, there are changes that we can make that are natural. We need to replace this.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, forget just putting a sodium lamp up, let's go LED. Well, okay, it might be 2-3 times the cost because you've got to replace the whole parts and get an electrician in. But we're trying to do our bit. And that's what we're aiming for, sustainability.
Yeah.
The future, because everybody blames my generation for being the culprits.
Yeah.
This. And yes, they're probably right, although it's not just one generation. But we all have our part to play. And part of that is, whilst we want to grow, we've got to consider sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point. So, Rob, one last question for you then. When you think about success, what would you say were your personal attributes to achieving the success you've got?
Right. Most obvious answers for me is smiling through adversity.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. Strange response, you may say, because there are also opportunities, even in the darkest of days, when you think everything's against you. There is a solution.
Yeah.
You just don't know what it is. And that is often where your support network comes into play.
Yeah.
Because they may say things or pass comments that you would never even consider.
Yeah.
And you take that snippet of information and put it, how can I make that work?
Yeah.
So I believe, whilst people might not think I do, I listen and remember.
Yeah.
And apply as and when the situation arises. So you might have told me something a year ago, and you probably think I've discounted it. I would tell you I haven't discounted it. I'll remember it, but like most people tend to forget.
Yeah.
But, unfortunately, I'm not liked because of my memory. Or power of memory.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's I mean, to summarize what you've just said, though, it's having a clear goal of where you're going,
Correct.
having the tenacity to keep going when it's not going as you planned, but also being very open to other ideas from other people that will help you then achieve that goal in the longer run.
I've also had this problem with, or situation, not a problem, with some of my managers.
Yeah.
Over the years, where I tell them, people around you can make you look good. Where often those managers see that individual as a threat.
Right.
To their role.
Yeah.
So don't maximize what they can do. I said about empowering, and it's encouraging people to develop themselves. And I think if you stifle them, you're more likely to lose them.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, of course.
Right. And for me, I think that has been part of my success. That's what I believe to be part of my success.
Yeah, excellent. Rob, it's been lovely talking to you today. Thank you for your time. If anyone wants to know about Axis, where do they find you?
Right. Well, our website is www.axisentrances.com.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Simple as that.
Nice and easy.
Yeah.
And our contact information is on there. And if anybody wants to know anything about doors and entrances, by all means, please feel free to contact us.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Rupert.